Thanks for joining us on School Matters. I'm Joni Kopis, and today we'll be talking to the Garfield administrative team. So let's introduce them now. Let's go ahead down the line if we can. Introduce yourself, your title, and then we'll go from there. We'll start with you, Kristen.
Hi, my name is Kristen Yorty. It's my 11th year in the district, and I started here at Garfield as a long-term substitute. I served as a science teacher in 2 buildings within the district, and now I found myself back at the start as an assistant principal, and this is my 2nd year in the building.
Well, welcome, Kristen. I know this is your first time on TV Hamilton. The other 2 are veterans, so let's go with you, Brandon. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Brandon Stanfill. I'm the proud principal at Garfield Middle School. In my 5th year as a principal. Before coming to Hamilton, I spent about 10 years on the East Coast in Newark, New Jersey, and I'm just so glad to be back home.
Came back home. Very good. How about you, Alice?
Hi, Joni. It's Alice Rose. I am 3rd year administrator at Garfield Middle School. Previously to that, I taught 21 years middle school language arts in Middletown. So.
Well, I have to give you kudos because I think middle school is a tough age for anybody. So for you to work those, good for you. So let's talk. How is the school year going so far? We're a little over halfway. So I know you're all smiling, so that's a good sign. Going well?
Not too bad. You know, any time you get to spend time with the kids is a good year. So we've definitely made some gains in some areas, and we just look forward to getting a chance to work with the kids every day.
And some students were able to go to Washington, D.C. last fall.
Yes, I had the great opportunity. We took about 70 of our students, made the trip to D.C., had a great time, got to see a lot of sights, and, you know, just the experience overall, the opportunity to see history come to life, really just such a great opportunity. Kids, they did such a great job with that trip.
Now, was that before or after the November election?
So that was right before the election. So we
it was really buzzing.
Oh, the city was very busy, and the kids actually got to see the stage where the inauguration took place. They were in the process of clearing out and building a number of the platforms. The kids learned that actually all the telephone poles and mailboxes would be removed, and they just it was such a great time to be out there, and there was just so many lessons that they picked up. Just
it's a great learning experience for them. Well, that's great. Well, let's talk about instruction, because obviously that's what schools are for. Instruction's going well, and I know, Alice, you said you have an incentive program.
Well, Joni, at Garfield we do. We have 4 quarterly incentives, and this is where we set or challenge the kids with a pretty rigorous criteria. First of all, they have to be in good, strong academic standing. They need to attend school regularly, and they need to be in very good behavior. So first quarter, we actually had 320 students qualify, and we did something in-house. We had a movie, bingo, and a huge rec. They really enjoyed that. Our second quarter, we actually had 228 kids that attended the web. And so we partnered with the web. They gave us a great price. The kids had endless calzones. They had go-karts. They did laser tag and mini bowling, and it was a great deal of fun. So we're in third quarter, challenging them to keep those good standings, and we're going to have a carnival theme. So we're looking to even raise beyond that 320 or that 228.
Well, that's great, because I know as the year goes, it gets a little tougher and tougher, I would think.
It does get a little hard, but they love it. They're really excited about it. They love that they get to spend, time with 8th graders and 7th graders with 8th graders. So it's a great experience for them.
And part of that instruction, technology is really leading the way with instruction. So let's talk about the pilot you guys are doing with your one-to-one technology, Brandon.
So if you walked into Garfield any day, you will see just a sea of computers. Our kids are on the Chromebooks, and they carry them with them. They pick them up in the morning, they take them to all of their classes, and they return them at the end of the day. But every single kid has their device with them wherever they go. So regardless of the class, the kids are connected, and we have a very robust wireless system, so it supports 800 devices at any given time. And we've just seen so many opportunities open up that you wouldn't think of. Our art teacher now has the capability to have students research paintings and other works that in the past would have required her to photocopy pictures and track down and then limit her to what she could expose them to, where now she can say, go into this site, you can pull this. What we're seeing in terms of our writing and really our students collaborating. Because not only do they have the device, but technology has changed so much now where the students are literally working in groups on the devices, and are able to just do so much more than we ever did before.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I know Lisa Brockman is your TLC, which is Technology Learning Coach, I believe. And she works with the students. So explain a little bit what she does as far as the students repairing the laptops.
So probably what I love the most about what happens is that, of course, there's things that are going to break. I mean, if you've had a teenager and you've had anything in the house, something's liable at any time to break.
Right.
Our kids do all the repairs. From fixing screens to repairing keyboards to wiping them down, all the maintenance. Ms. Brockman has a team of kids, and they diagnose the issues. They go solve the problems. They track them down when they end up missing, get them back to where they need to be. So it's been remarkable to watch the kids with one, to see their skills, what they're capable of, and two, just to see the maturity in the process. When you give them ownership, they really flourish.
How were those students selected? I mean, did they just said I have an interest, or did Mrs. Brockman say, "Oh, I think Alice would be a good candidate"? How they decide that?
A little bit of both. I mean, first we wanted kids that were interested in the tech piece, because it's one thing to like a computer; it's another thing to want to take one apart. So we looked for a
And
match.
put it back together, right?
Correctly.
That's more important.
So yeah, we kind of it was a little bit of a marriage. We were looking for people that were looking to do it, but also for the right skills.
Yeah, had the ability and the skills and the interest.
Yeah,
Very
the
good.
interest is huge.
Yeah.
You got to want to do it.
And I have to give a shout out to you, Brandon, because Taft and Garfield Senior High School is a class of 61. They were sophomores and juniors at the old Hamilton High, and then in 61, they split up to Taft and Garfield. And last fall, they had a joint class reunion. And you were kind enough to give up a couple hours on a Saturday morning. We had about, 10 or 12 Garfield alumni come out. They wanted to see their old high school. And so it was fun watching them, listening to them. Oh, I remember this teacher in this room. But they really were impressed by this, when you were talking about the students repairing, and then also about the partnership. So talk about the partnership that you have with Bill Steen.
So first of all, Joni, that class was absolutely amazing. I think they taught me much more than they realized. Did you know that Garfield was originally going to be the Garfield Lions?
Yeah, one of the gentlemen there was explaining about that. So explain that to the audience, if you will.
So at the time, the proposal was the Taft Tigers and the Garfield Lions. Well, some of the students that were going to be the Garfield Lions got together and thought, well, that's not fair. Taft Tigers, that sounds cool. That has alliteration in it.
Alliteration, yeah.
So the one student in particular happened to be at a camp out, I believe, at OU for journalism, and there he found some students that attended a school up in Akron called Akron Bechtel. I think it was Bechtel High School, and they were the Griffins. And he thought, Garfield Griffins, there's that alliteration, and this griffin is much cooler than that
And it's a lion and an eagle, right?
It is, so it had both.
That's where you got the griffin.
So the students banded together. They made a proposal to the superintendent at the time, and that's how we became the Garfield Griffins.
Right.
So that was a little piece of history that I think got away from us. I'd never heard that story before. Right. So, that Saturday morning was worth just that nugget of information. And
they all had fond memories, of course, of Coach Sharp. Who doesn't like Coach Sharp? And but it was fun to hear them talk as they're going down the building. They were impressed how well the building looked like, after 50-some years. But it was nice that you gave up that Saturday morning. They did appreciate that. But let's talk about the partnership that I made reference to.
Okay, so one of the things our kids had done is they partnered with Bill Stein in Hamilton, and our students have actually made a video that highlights manufacturing and what's cool about manufacturing. So it's actually a competition amongst tri-state schools and companies where they band together. So our kids have been out to the plant. They have interviewed from the CEO on down, and they have just finished their editing on making a video that will be showcased in this competition. So not only did they get to use the technology, they got hands-on experience walking around one of the high state-of-the-art facilities, manufacturing facilities in the country.
And that's through the Project Gateway class with Mrs. Hendrickson?
Yes, so they have a class that's designed around robotics, and if you can't find me, I'm probably
You're down there?
down in the STEM room, because they're playing with they're making circuits, they're building robots. They go through the design process. I was in there not too long ago, and the kids were working on their own designs around ankle braces and how they can improve ankle braces to provide both comfort and stability. And I have to tell you, some of the ideas that they had were just, top notch.
Oh.
And to see them, and they're drafting out and they're drawing the sketches just like you would in the industry. And they follow the same industry standards and procedures and are using many of the same software. The students are working on a version of CAD, which is an industry standard for design. And these guys are in middle school. They're 7th and 8th graders.
Wow. Well, that sounds very impressive. Why don't we go ahead and check out the STEM program at Garfield Middle School.
What's up, ThyssenKrupp?
What? So,
Cool. About manufacturing.
ThyssenKrupp Bilstein is an active company in the automobile industry. They produce a wide range of innovative shock absorber systems.
ThyssenKrupp Bilstein also employs a lot of great people.
It's a good job to have.
Usually every day is really a great day here.
So, what's so cool about manufacturing?
It's unique. Every day is different and everyone has a different job to do.
I am a manufacturing engineering technician.
I am the occupational safety and health manager here.
I am the head of the human resources function for ThyssenKrupp Bilstein of America. I'm the president and CEO here for ThyssenKrupp Bilstein of America, and then for this plant here, I'm the general manager.
Workers in the manufacturing field need a variety of skills.
Well, I think for us really the key is that we want to have people who are capable of working in a team and then working here together, strongly together. We're clearly much stronger together than as an individual, and of course if you have individual technical skills, other skills, that's very helpful, but we're focusing a lot on training people and teaching people skills. Well, there's a lot of opportunities, a lot of different jobs in the organization. The predominance of our positions are production and manufacturing jobs or warehousing positions. We look for people that are bright, intelligent, accountable, show up to work, are creative, and like a good challenge.
I came out of the Marine Corps and my wife was pregnant, so I needed a job to be able to support my wife and my up-and-coming baby. So I picked this job, and as I used my skills that I learned in the military to help grow and lead people, and I eventually moved from an operator to team leader to now learning how to run equipment and bringing all that stuff into play.
Manufacturing is important in many ways. With it, we can do anything.
To learn more about manufacturing careers, please visit www.dreamitdoitoki.com.
Well, it's no doubt technology has just changed the way education is being taught and also learned. So I think that's great. And as you said, those kids, we call them kids, they love it.
They sure do.
They thrive on it. Another thing you guys are very big about is community outreach. So talk a little bit, Kristen, about the Thanksgiving dinner you guys held.
So I think as educators, we recognize the importance of working with the community that we serve. This Thanksgiving, one of our teachers and dedicated staff members, Mr. Kevin Hudson, he worked with student athletes, staff members, and the community to open our doors to those in need for a Thanksgiving dinner. It was an unbelievable event.
Good turnout.
It was a huge turnout. Over 560 people in the community came, and these were people in need. And it was our athletes, it was our staff members, people from the community that gave their time and also gave some of the resources, the food, the drinks.
Food, yes, right.
Yep, that was all donated.
Right.
And it was, like I said, 560 families came in and took part in it. And it was just such an awesome opportunity to showcase the school and to meet and greet. The kids were there. They got their hands dirty. They were serving and interacting with the people. It was just a really nice community event.
Well, and you mentioned they came in to see you, but it's important for the students to come out. So let's talk again, a strong partnership is Junior Achievement, and they had the job experience for the 8th graders,
Yeah,
and that was last fall.
Yeah, they sure did. And our 8th graders visited one of 12 local businesses in the community as part of the Junior Achievement's job exposure experience. And it was coordinated by our counselor, Miss Laura Horde. And during that job shadowing experience, the students observed, professional workers. They were able to interact with them, engage in conversations, get a real feel for what it is to do the job that was being done, at that location. So it really gave them those experiences and allowed them to get a real feel for what it's like to be this. And they were so excited when they came back. They were just so charged by it. A lot of them even came back and said, I want to do that.
Right.
That's what I want to do with myself
Right.
when I get older. And that was just so powerful because I don't know about anybody else sitting here, but I know in 8th grade that was certainly not an exposure that I had in my personal life. And I think that's so important to start preparing these kids for that future and getting them focused on those goals.
Right.
And what it is they want to do, and expose them also to what kinds of education they need to pursue in order to do what it is that they want to do. Just put them on that path, and the earlier we can start thinking about that, the better.
Well, I was going to say, Brandon, it's never too early to start the conversation. What do you want to do, or what do you not want to do? Because sometimes it's easier to strike out, oh, I don't want to do this. So sometimes you find your calling, if you will, by eliminating other things. And they went out, you had people come in, but let's talk about the career fair that you just had last week that Cindy Smith coordinated.
So we actually had a career fair that we had close to 30 businesses come in, and people from different industries. The kids had a chance to walk around, interact, and ask them about what they do. So we had HR safety coordinators. We had the corporate attorney for Speedway was present. We had chiropractors. We had nurses. We had engineers and architects. We had machine operations, sales consultants. I mean, and the funeral home.
At a funeral
There was a
home,
coffin.
yeah. Well,
There was definitely
that's a profession, yes.
There's a story to that.
Yeah, so, it was a very wide variety, and on top of that, the CTE program from the high school comes over because we want to make sure our kids understand in Hamilton that we are one of the only comprehensive high schools in the state, and we have so many programs available to them that they need to think about, because a kid in Hamilton could stay at Hamilton High and walk away with a degree in cosmetology or certificate, or in the automotive programs or the health and fitness direction. So we use this opportunity to really get them thinking about real life opportunities that exist for them and connections that are right here. And
we actually had our kids dress up.
Right.
They dressed
like a
up,
job
and they
interview.
were there to impress,
Yes, they were.
And my husband actually spent some time with the kids, and I know your wife did, and I mean, he was bragging on our kids. They were so polite and mannered, and thank you, and they loved the fireballs, I'm sure, but the candy.
Right.
But again, they were amazing to actually the people that came in.
I liked on the front of each of them, it said if you're artistic, and there was a conductor, Paul Stanberry was there, or if you like math, so that it sort of told you what your interests were, then you could go to the individual
And
tables.
prior to, the kids engaged in some lessons that have been pushed out through the language arts classes, and it was an inventory to see what type of career they would be best suited for, so it was a fit, and then that was a challenge to them is when they got down there to find their natural fit and engage in that conversation, with the person that was representing that particular career. So it was really cool all around, and all the effort that went into planning that. It was a really great job,
very
and the kids
diverse
did enjoy it.
professions.
Very diverse
this
professions.
year, I mean,
Huge diversity.
the turnout was just unbelievable. I mean, we had not only was the Hamilton Police Department present, the fire department, we had
We
the
had a lawyer.
FBI was
FBI.
was
Actually, it was a
there.
parent of one of our teachers.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yes, which was very cool.
Right.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the career tech programs at the high school. What I always like is that the students from the high school actually come. So they get to talk to, some students that are maybe 2-3 years older than them, and they get a little bit better one-on-one, I think, than, listening to maybe a teacher. So I think they enjoyed talking to the older students as well. So
Absolutely.
it was
Yeah, I agree.
it was very good. And that was just targeted for your 8th graders.
Just
again.
targeted
Yes.
for the 8th
And you
graders.
do it every year.
Every year,
Yeah.
we get about 400 students get the experience every
Cindy
year.
does a great job with that.
Absolutely.
She does.
Very much.
We're looking at ways. We'd love to get the 7th graders down there, but we always worry. We are getting people out of their profession. They're coming in the middle of the workday, so we have a little time window we're working through. But
yeah, it's hard to give up a whole day. Maybe a half day might be easier.
Yeah.
And let's shift gears a little bit, Alice. Let's talk about the fine arts, because our district is known for a strong fine arts. So let's talk first, I guess, Shannon Fry, the art teacher.
Well, first of all, I do want to let you know we definitely recognize and embrace the importance of the fine arts. Research will tell you that kids that are really rich in the arts, they're going to have higher standardized test scores, they're going to have higher GPAs, less dropouts. So again, research really embraces exposing our kids to that. Actually, at Garfield, we have approximately 43% of our students that are participating in choir, band, or orchestra. We actually had to add an extra orchestra class to assist those 7th graders.
Isn't that great?
They are wonderful. You know, when we're walking through the hallways, the music is just beautiful. You just want to poke your head in, and it's just amazing the sounds that they're creating with their instruments and their own voice, their instruments.
And one of the reasons I think you're having to add is because, unlike some school districts, we have strings and bands and music. A lot of what other school districts, because the budget cuts have cut or reduced, and we're very fortunate to start that at the elementary level, and then just continue on at 7th and 8th grade. So it's a great problem to have that we have to add, I guess.
So you mentioned Shannon Fry, and I think, Mr. Stanfield, you actually call her one of our hidden treasures at Garfield. She is amazing. I think she's been here her entire career. Is that true?
Absolutely. It's the story how she got to Hamilton is pretty funny.
Okay.
She was lost heading to a job interview in another district and happened to stop at Garfield and ask for directions. Dennis Malone, the principal at the time, happened to have a position, talked to her a few minutes and said, "I'm not going to tell you how to get there, but I would love to interview you here at Garfield Middle School."
I didn't know that.
When she told me that story, I just had a laugh. But Shannon does amazing things with our students. And right now, if you come into the building and go near our auditorium, you're going to see a hallway of artwork that it contains these beautiful pictures or paintings that are all put together, and it's all student work guided under Shannon.
Yeah, they're like 12-inch square canvas, right?
So they're 12-inch squares connected. So they're in like a rectangle of, I believe it's 4, so 4 times 3. There's 12. There's 12 canvases that represent each panel, and then there's a series of these panels. And interestingly, the kids, she coordinated with the kids and had them develop. She gave them a theme, and then we were able to just pick out and lay out, which was a pretty cool process. And we
put them all together.
Yeah, it looks. We love it. The kids love it, and they're so proud of their work down there.
As I say, they can come back too and say, "Oh, this is the one that I made." And I will mention this because you went to George Washington, Brandon. George Washington, for the bicentennial, 1977, the art teacher at the time, Joyce St. John, had, I think they were 3 or 4 inch ceramic squares, and had her students do that. And it was nice, as soon as you walked in the door, you saw that, and it was a source of pride for every student. And they would come back and point out their tiles. And when we tore down George Washington, people wanted to come back and get their tiles. And for 2 years, we were in the tile business at central office because people knew exactly where it was or what it looked like, and they were so proud of that. And when I walk by and see those 12-inch canvas squares, I think of that and I thought, 10, 20, 30 years from now, those people want their canvas back. And they each tells a story, which is beautiful.
It's funny you bring that up for 2 reasons. One, Miss St. John was my art teacher
is that
at
right?
George Washington. And 2, I remember those tiles. I mean, that was just part of the building.
Yes.
Did you get yours?
I was not in middle school during 76.
So, you didn't, yes, that's true.
But I definitely seen the tiles, and they were a fixture of the building.
They were.
Cool.
And, we talked about community outreach because Shannon does a nice job of working with the Ice Fest, and her students did soap carvings. Like this year's theme was Jaboli Go where no one goes before. And so the students did the soap carvings to that theme, and she had several winners, and it was just a very nice event. Even though the weather wasn't nice for Ice Fest, they were still recognized, and their soap carvings obviously made it through the crazy warm weather that we had. But she's very good about the community outreach and whenever there's a need. So I think that's great.
And another thing that's really awesome is a lot of the times these students that may not excel necessarily in the academics just create these beautiful works of art, and they take such pride in it. And they're they're sharing it with their teachers, and sometimes the teachers are like, oh my gosh, you know, did you see what this student has created? And just forming those relationships and having those conversations. But it's really unbelievable to see what's produced out of that art room. The kids do amazing, amazing things.
And at the end of the year, we have an auction. We actually buy their artwork.
Yeah,
Oh, is
I
that
have
right?
pieces in my office that I have
Very
purchased
good.
from the
So
students.
they get payment for,
Yes.
you know,
Yeah.
it's cool.
It's-
They're
Well,
just so
you know, we're
proud.
talking
Very
about
cool.
it. Why don't we go ahead and check out Miss Fry's artistic art students.
We're going to also get into talking about watercolor backgrounds that we're going to be printing on for our pieces. Now, I started to grab some of the work that you guys have been doing and then some from other classes because I wanted to show kind of the process that we've been working on and also give you guys tips that other people are doing in other classes. Now, a couple of things that I wanted to point out that we're going to be doing for this, and I noticed that a couple of you done it. Some of you are really thinking about your background space and you're not just randomly carving, but you're really trying to create designs that when we print these, then not only is your base print going to print well, but also the background's going to create neat texture. Some of the things that I've noticed that you guys are doing, like Gornika, I grabbed yours. This is fabulous. I really like the fact that he's creating a frame around his piece because when he does his prints, that's going to really stand out, not just the actual piece itself, but also that he's creating a frame around it. Another thing that I wanted to point out, and I grabbed this one from our class here, some of you guys have a lot of white space in your carving, and one of the largest things to do with this, and which makes it very, very difficult for some of you, is the fact that we're going to have really simple lines. Trying to carve around that can structurally be difficult, but you pulled it off, yes, it really
Well, that is so impressive, and you said the talent that they have. I know you started a drama club this year as well.
Yes, it's been interesting. We actually hosted our first production. We did The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. It was amazing to see the work that the kids put on in just a short time and as their first production. The numbers in the club are just growing and growing and growing, and I can't be more proud of the work they're doing.
Well,
and
like you said, Kristen, it's a way for students to express themselves.
Absolutely.
You know, they all can't be, you know, great in every, you know, instructional thing, but they sure can express themselves in other venues and get a lot out of it.
And it gives them that purpose even to
Right.
be a part of the school
Yeah.
community.
Come back into school because I want to be in the
I wanna
band.
exactly.
And as educators, we harp on the fundamentals. We're worried about reading scores and math and those things. But if we put ourselves in the shoes of a kid,
It's got to be fun
there's
too.
there's some other things that are a little more important in their world, and we have to figure out how to strike that balance.
I was just say it is a balance. You're
Yes.
exactly right. Well, it sounds like Garfield is just blooming and going crazy, and I think it's exciting to see what all you're doing, and we look forward to seeing more good things coming out of Garfield Middle School.
Well, Joni, thanks for having us. We
Sure.
appreciate the time to share with you what we're doing.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Garfield.
And for TV Hamilton, I'm Joni Kopis, and we'll see you next time on School Matters.